Beneath the veneer of skepticism, reality bears witness to chilling truths. In the haunting corridors of history, where shadows dance with undeniable evidence, remember this, the stories are true. Prepare for a revelation. Where the supernatural is stripped of fiction, and the unknown is laid bare. Are you ready to confront the undeniable? The stories are true, and the echoes of reality await.
The tale of the silent movie theater. Once a haven for cinematic wonders, now a stage for a saga as intricate as any blockbuster drama. Picture this, a theater born from the passion of its founder, John Hampton, who in 1942 defied the era's trend of discarding silent films by showcasing his personal collection. Little did he know that his preservation efforts, soaked in toxic chemicals in the very bathtub above his heater, would seal his fate, hastening his demise in 1990, claimed by the relentless grip of cancer. Enter Lawrence Austin, Hampton's protege, who inherited the theater and its tangled legacy. But fate, it seems, had a darker role scripted for this stage. In 1997, amidst the flickering glow of projected images, tragedy struck as Austin met his end in a hail of bullets, courtesy of a hired gun. The plot thickens as revelations unravel, a tale of betrayal, conspiracy, and deceit. For it was Austin's own confidant, James Van Sickle, the theater's projectionist and lover, who orchestrated the macabre scene, weaving a web of lies claiming ownership through a dubious handwritten will. But justice, though delayed, ultimately prevailed, as Van Sickle and his hired hand found themselves ensnared in the cold embrace of incarceration, serving life sentences for their sins. Yet, amidst the whispers of the past, echoes linger within the theater's walls, bearing witness to the lingering presence of those whose lives were claimed by its dark embrace. A guest, brave or perhaps unwittingly curious, recounts the chilling scene she witnessed, a body sprawled in the lobby, a memory haunting her steps ever since. They say spirits still roam these hallowed halls, the ghost of Lawrence Austin trapped in eternal unrest, his presence felt in the very air of the lobby he once walked. And John Hampton, his spirit wandering the second floor where he once dwelled, a silent sentinel to the theater's tumultuous history. Such is the tale of the silent movie theater, where the real of reality blends seamlessly with the shadows of the past, a drama fit for the silver screen itself.
Hold tight for the next one.
The tale of the silent movie theater. Once a haven for cinematic wonders, now a stage for a saga as intricate as any blockbuster drama. Picture this, a theater born from the passion of its founder, John Hampton, who in 1942 defied the era's trend of discarding silent films by showcasing his personal collection. Little did he know that his preservation efforts, soaked in toxic chemicals in the very bathtub above his heater, would seal his fate, hastening his demise in 1990, claimed by the relentless grip of cancer. Enter Lawrence Austin, Hampton's protege, who inherited the theater and its tangled legacy. But fate, it seems, had a darker role scripted for this stage. In 1997, amidst the flickering glow of projected images, tragedy struck as Austin met his end in a hail of bullets, courtesy of a hired gun. The plot thickens as revelations unravel, a tale of betrayal, conspiracy, and deceit. For it was Austin's own confidant, James Van Sickle, the theater's projectionist and lover, who orchestrated the macabre scene, weaving a web of lies claiming ownership through a dubious handwritten will. But justice, though delayed, ultimately prevailed, as Van Sickle and his hired hand found themselves ensnared in the cold embrace of incarceration, serving life sentences for their sins. Yet, amidst the whispers of the past, echoes linger within the theater's walls, bearing witness to the lingering presence of those whose lives were claimed by its dark embrace. A guest, brave or perhaps unwittingly curious, recounts the chilling scene she witnessed, a body sprawled in the lobby, a memory haunting her steps ever since. They say spirits still roam these hallowed halls, the ghost of Lawrence Austin trapped in eternal unrest, his presence felt in the very air of the lobby he once walked. And John Hampton, his spirit wandering the second floor where he once dwelled, a silent sentinel to the theater's tumultuous history. Such is the tale of the silent movie theater, where the real of reality blends seamlessly with the shadows of the past, a drama fit for the silver screen itself.
Hold tight for the next one.
Ah, the Queen Mary, a vessel steeped in history, its very timbers whispering tales of bygone eras and spectral encounters. Once a paragon of luxury, ferrying the elite across the vast expanse of the Atlantic, she now stands as a testament to the passage of time, her once opulent halls echoing with the faint murmurs of the restless dead. They say her transformation from a grand dame of the seas to a spectral haunt began with the outbreak of World War II. Drafted into service as a ferry ship, she shed her elegant veneer, cloaked instead in the somber hues of wartime necessity. Renamed the Grey Ghost, she bore witness to the horrors of conflict, ferrying troops to distant shores and back again, her decks awash with the blood and sweat of brave souls. Yet, even in peacetime, the Queen Mary's legacy of the macabre persisted. Sold to a tour operator and moored in Long Beach, she became a floating hotel and event venue, her once bustling corridors now silent save for the eerie whispers that danced upon the air. According to the late Peter James, a renowned psychic and ghost hunter, the Queen Mary teems with restless spirits, each one a testament to the ship's tumultuous past. From the second-class pool deck to the depths of Engine Room 13, no corner of her hallowed halls remains untouched by the specter of the supernatural. Foremost among her ghostly denizens is the spirit of Stateroom B 340, a place so fraught with paranormal activity that even the bravest among the crew dare not venture within. Tales abound of its haunted history, from the mysterious demise of third-class passenger Walter J. Adamson in 1948, to the grisly fate of a man locked within its confines, torn asunder by unseen forces in the dead of night. Such is the allure of the Queen Mary, a vessel adrift in time, her secrets shrouded in the mists of legend and lore. And as the sun sets on her weathered hull, one can't help but wonder what otherworldly encounters await those who dare to tread her haunted decks.
Hold tight for the next one.
In the shadowed realm of Highgate Cemetery, where the departed slumber beneath centuries-old stones, one might expect a quiet reverence to prevail. Yet, as history would have it, this resting place has become a stage for the bizarre and the inexplicable. In the annals of the 70s, a sinister presence prowled the mist-laden paths, casting a chill upon the hearts of locals. Amidst whispers and conjecture, a certain Sean Manchester, a magician of dubious repute, ventured forth with the audacity to proclaim the presence of a vampire. Absurd, one might think, for what creature of the night would find solace amidst the solemnity of the dead? Alas, on the eve of his fateful pursuit, Mr. Manchester vanished into the ether, leaving behind naught but speculation and a lingering sense of foreboding. But let us not dwell on the fanciful notion of bloodsuckers, for the true specters that haunt Highgate are far more enigmatic. Among them, the spirit of Karl Marx himself, his ideology lingering like an ethereal mist among the tombstones, ever in search of souls ripe for philosophical discourse. Yet it is the tale of the tall, dark figure that stirs the most fervent debate among the denizens of Muswell Hill. With eyes ablaze with otherworldly fire, it stalks the grounds with a silent malevolence, striking fear into the hearts of those unfortunate enough to cross its path. David Farrant, a man of local renown, dared to voice his encounters with a grey apparition on that eerie Christmas Eve of '69, igniting a conflagration of supernatural sightings that gripped the community in a vice of terror. In the wake of these unsettling events, the air crackled with hysteria as self-proclaimed exorcists and intrepid vampire hunters descended upon the cemetery gates, their presence invoking chaos and desecration. Graves were violated, corpses defiled, all in the name of quelling the restless spirits that roamed the hallowed grounds. Amidst this maelstrom of madness, David Farrant found himself ensnared in the tendrils of the law, accused of crimes most foul in his pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. And yet, despite the scorn of society, he stood defiant, a beacon of defiance against the encroaching darkness.
Thus, the saga of Highgate Cemetery unfolds, a tapestry woven with threads of fear and fascination, where the boundaries between the living and the dead blur into obscurity, and the whispered promises of the paranormal beckon with an irresistible allure.
Hold tight for the next one.
In the rugged embrace of the Sam Merrill trailhead where the foothills cradle the Cobb Estate, lies a realm both haunting and hallowed. Once hailed as a haven for weary travelers seeking solace amidst nature's embrace, the estate now harbors secrets whispered on the wind and etched into the time-worn stones. The tale of its transformation finds its genesis in the tumultuous era of the 1950s, when the illustrious Marx Brothers, renowned for their wit and whimsy, cast their gaze upon the land. With a stroke of fate, they breathed new life into the decaying mansion, sparing it from the jaws of oblivion. Little did they know that their act of preservation would birth a sanctuary for those on the fringes of society, where the forgotten sought shelter amidst its dilapidated walls. As time wove its tapestry, the Cobb Estate became more than a mere refuge. It evolved into a nexus where the tangible and intangible converged. Echoes of laughter and footsteps of long-departed souls whispered through the corridors, mingling with the rustle of leaves in the haunted forest beyond. In the modern epic, the estate casts a different allure, drawing forth a new breed of pilgrims, bold youths emboldened by tales of phantoms and apparitions. Under the cloak of night, they venture forth, their hearts quickened by the promise of encountering the otherworldly. Though the forest stands sparse and desolate, the remnants of the mansion's foundation serve as a stage for the ethereal, where spectral echoes resonate upon the surviving staircase, and the shadows themselves seem to dance with a life of their own. Amidst the ebb and flow of time, the Cobb Estate remains a beacon, beckoning both the curious and the courageous to venture into the unknown, where the boundaries between the seen and unseen blur, and the mysteries of the haunted forest reveal themselves to those brave enough to seek them.
Hold tight for the next one.
Greenwich. The mere mention of its name sends shivers down the spine, for it is a place where the past lingers like a haunting melody. At the heart of this enigmatic locale stands the Queen's House, a silent witness to the spectral dance that unfolds within its ancient walls. 1966 marked the year when the Reverend Hardy, a man of faith, ventured into the embrace of Greenwich's mysteries with his faithful wife by his side. Drawn by whispers of a staircase so beguiling it seemed to defy time itself, the Reverend aimed his lens and captured a moment that would echo through eternity. It was a simple act, a photograph taken in admiration, yet when the image emerged from the depths of the dark room, it revealed more than mere wood and stone. Two apparitions, ethereal and fleeting, ascended the stairs in silent communion, defying explanation or reason. The Reverend and his wife swore solemn oaths that no living soul accompanied them in that moment of frozen time. But time, relentless in its passage, has not dulled the curiosity, nor quenched the whispers that echo through the corridors of the Queen's house. Who were these spectral visitors lingering between worlds? The answer eludes even the most steadfast of seekers, leaving only questions in its wake. And yet, the dance of the spirits continues, weaving through the tapestry of history with ghostly grace. In 2002, a gallery assistant, unsuspecting and unaware, bore witness to the ethereal presence that still calls Greenwich home. A figure, cloaked in the garments of antiquity, glided across the balcony with silent purpose, vanishing into the very fabric of reality itself. Such is the legacy of Greenwich, where the past and present intertwine in a timeless waltz, inviting the brave and the curious to step into the unknown and seek answers that may forever elude mortal understanding.
Hold tight for the next one.
The Colorado Street Bridge, a marvel completed in 1913, cast its shadow over Pasadena's tales since its inception. Its first dark embrace was claimed in 1919, thereafter becoming a stage for tragedies untold. Carradine, a man steeped in the lore, recounted the chilling whispers that echo along its rails and under its arches. "People speak of apparitions," Carradine began, his voice tinged with a blend of awe and fear. "A man takes a leap into the abyss, yet upon approach he vanishes into thin air. A spectral woman traverses the bridge, her form elusive, fading like mist before the eyes of startled motorists." Carradine himself danced with the bridge's ghostly whispers. "In the dead of night, beneath the bridge's arches, my companion and I walked," he revealed. "Lights flickered and died in succession as we passed, leaving naught but darkness in our wake." The bridge's dark history deepened in 1932, as another soul met its end in a fatal plunge. Whispers spoke of a departed builder, his spectral hand guiding lost souls to their fate, though truth shunned such tales. Over the years, the bridge's toll grew, surpassing 150 lives lost to its siren call. Tales abound of spectral figures haunting its spans. A woman leaping, then vanishing, a man muttering cryptic accusations to startled onlookers. In '93, a $27 million endeavor cloaked the bridge in steel, a barrier to thwart despair's embrace. Yet its grasp proved tenacious, slowing but not halting the tragedies. Talks lingered of a permanent barrier, met with resistance from the bridge's ardent admirers, who, while acknowledging its necessity, mourned the intrusion. The bridge's narrative is etched in sorrow, its haunting whispers echoing through the annals of California's most spectral locales.
Hold tight for the next one.
The Tower of London has been a notorious prison for nearly 1,000 years. Many famous people lost their heads within its walls. Anne Boleyn, the second wife of Henry VIII, was beheaded at the Tower in 1536. Her restless spirit is said to wander the grounds, clutching her severed head to her side. Other ghostly prisoners have been seen and heard wailing and roaming aimlessly as ghosts are known to do. The Tower is considered one of the most haunted places in London, with countless reports of apparitions over the centuries. Visitors have claimed to see the ghosts of Anne Boleyn, Lady Jane Grey, and other historical figures who met tragic ends within the Tower's confines. The unfortunate Guy Fawkes was imprisoned and likely tortured on the rack in the White Tower dungeons after his failed gunpowder plot to assassinate King James I in 1605. Some believe his agonized screams can still be heard echoing through the thick stone walls. In a particularly chilling tale, a soldier in 1679 reported seeing a procession of ghostly knights and ladies passing through the chapel, led by the headless spectre of Anne Boleyn herself. He had climbed to look through the window after noticing a mysterious light burning inside the locked chapel, where Anne was laid to rest after her execution. The young King Henry VI was imprisoned in the Wakefield Tower, where he was murdered at midnight in 1471 while kneeling at the altar of the king's private chapel. His ghost is thought to materialize in the Wakefield Tower every year on the anniversary of his death. In the 13th century, King Henry III kept a menagerie of exotic animals in the Tower grounds, including lions, leopards, pumas, tigers, and even an elephant and polar bear sent from abroad as gifts. The popular blood sport of bear baiting was carried out for entertainment in those days. Perhaps it is the restless spirit of one of those tormented bears that is said to appear from behind the door of the Jewel Room or near the Martin Tower as a shaggy black apparition glimpsed in 1816. The dashing Sir Walter Raleigh was imprisoned in the Bloody Tower for over 13 years by both Elizabeth I and James I. He attempted suicide during this final confinement in the Beauchamp Tower before being executed outside the Palace of Westminster. In 1957, a Welsh guard encountered a strange, faceless female form at the Salt Tower, possibly one of the many tragic women who suffered within these walls over the ages. Like the infamous Anne, the elderly Margaret Pole, Countess of Salisbury, was beheaded on the Tower Green in 1541 on Henry VIII's orders, simply for being the mother of a man who opposed the king's break with the Catholic Church. Her awful, drawn-out execution at the hands of an inept executioner is said to be relived each night as her anguished screams resound through the towers. On another dark occasion, a yeoman warder, one of the tower's famous beefeater guards, was seen charging his bayonet at a ghostly white female figure in the courtyard where Anne Boleyn met her end. The 9 days Queen, Lady Jane Grey, was executed alongside her husband in 1554 after briefly being put on the throne by devious advisers of the late King Edward VI. Jane's innocence and pitifully brief taste of power make her one of the tower's most tragic figures. It is said her pale form can be seen keeping a silent vigil along the battlements where she was put to death.
In the corridors, you may hear the unmistakable sound of sandals slapping against the stone, the footsteps of a ghostly monk who once walked these halls when the tower contained a religious order.
The melancholy Arbella Stuart, cousin of Elizabeth I, haunts the Queen's house where she was imprisoned and starved by paranoid King James for daring to marry without his approval. And in the most heartbreaking tale, the small skeletons of the 2 young princes in the tower, the sons of Edward IV, who were imprisoned by their monstrous uncle, were found buried unceremoniously beneath a stairwell. The pitiful child ghosts of Edward V and Richard are said to continue their horrifying, unending confinement in the place of their murder. But perhaps most chilling of all is the presence of the Nameless Thing, a primordial, malevolent force far older than any of the tower's other wretched spectral inhabitants. This formless being is reported to trail and menace the night guards as they walk their river entrance route, as if some unspeakable evil still haunts the most ancient grounds of this dreadful place. The secret of its foulness is one few dare contemplate.
Hold tight for the next one.
The old White House was a place of phantoms and shades. Restless spirits who would not be quieted. Abe Lincoln's tall ghost walked those halls heaviest of all. That rail-splitter president, shot dead in the crimson night by the play actor's bullet. Men of stout heart glimpsed Lincoln's apparition roaming. The Rough Rider Teddy Roosevelt. The English bulldog Winston Churchill puffing his cigar amid the specters. And Eleanor, her own self, felt that lorn presence breathing in the bedroom, named for her husband's fallen forebearer. But Lincoln's was not the only revenant loosened upon that house. His small son Willie, dead in those strangled war years, drifted ever behind his father's long strides, a sad wisp of a shade following the way a lost child clings to whatever reminders of home remain. Poor Mary Lincoln heard them both, her husband's firm tread, the tiny footfalls of her lost babe. She took solace in dark spirit channelings, desperate to ease such all-consuming grief. Housemaids crossed themselves at every creak and cold draft of immortal visitants. Old Jerry the footman heard their cries and shuddered. Lincoln, Grant, McKinley, the ghostly tramp of armies forever marching from civilization's farthest fields. He spooked the young servant girls with his haint tales till inflexible Taft threatened the sack for any more such oddments. Over the decades they ebbed and flowed, these lorn remnants of power and loss. From Willie's baleful thing to the nameless boy spirit who pressed its terrible weight on unsuspecting shoulders, all pleading from past to present, begging to be given witness and remembrance still. The grounds cupped their ancient groans in the moistened earth where so many had trod before. Unquiet spirits would not be stilled as new families came and supplanted the old, destined in turn to flee home forever. Lincoln's ghost remained ever towering and sorrowful amid the uncountable voices crying out, until the time when all shall be rejoined beyond this veil, or death takes even whispered memories at last into oblivion's void.
Hold tight for the next one.
Clink Street. Who would have thought an old renovated prison could be ground zero for so many ghastly hauntings? The Clink was notoriously one of the most brutal prisons of the Middle Ages. Prisoners were routinely beaten and starved, all at the behest of the church running the jail. It must have been a waking nightmare to be alive back then. Plague, evil prisons, no reality shows for entertainment, a true living hell on earth. The very name Clink now evokes the eerie sounds of unseen spirits rattling chains and cell doors in this former house of torment. now turned museum. Though shuttered for 300 years, visitors still swear they witness ghostly apparitions of guards and inmates wandering the halls. One frequently reported spectre is that of a wretched female prisoner, forever trying in vain to remove the shackles and irons that bound her in life. The authorities at the Clink were by all accounts sadistic, mentally unwell, and utterly lacking empathy. The church allowed cruel and inhumane punishments like starvation, solitary confinement, and vicious beatings, all in the name of rehabilitation. It's no surprise such barbaric practices have left restless, disturbed souls paying an eternal penance within these walls, where they experienced unfathomable suffering. Those brave enough to tour the Clink regularly report encounters with the supernatural. Shadowy shapes of prisoners and their tormentors are seen. Unexplained noises like footsteps and slamming cell doors echo constantly, as if the anguished cries and daily routine of horror still replay in some awful continual loop. Specific ghosts are seldom witnessed repeatedly, but that same desperate female shade is frequently glimpsed and heard, her wrists and ankles seemingly weighed down forever by the cruel restraints of a punishing, unjust life.
Thanks for joining us on this eerie adventure. If you enjoyed the chills, don't forget to subscribe. More mysteries await. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay curious.